In this exercise, we're going to do some calculations for payroll. And so this will be a three-part problem here. Here's the first part. Compute MRI's payroll tax amounts for each of these four taxes. And here's are the taxes. Social Security, Medicare, federal unemployment tax are commonly called FUTA, and state unemployment tax, commonly called SUTA. These four taxes as applied to the employee's gross earnings for September. Now, we're going to calculate the taxes for September, which is $1,800, based on the $1,800, keeping in mind that this employee has already worked from January through August and already made $6,400 through August, because that will be an important thing to keep in mind when we find these limits that we're going to look at possibly on these different kinds of taxes. So, first thing I'm going to do is look at what this employee has made year to date. Remember, this is part A of this problem. So year to date, $6,400 plus $1,800. The year to date pays $8,200. And the first thing I'll do is look through here and see, has this employee went over the limit with respect to any of these taxes? Well, no on Social Security, because that's the first $87,000. No on Medicare, because there's not going to be a limit on the amount of wages that you can earn to get out of paying Medicare taxes. But the answer is yes for FUTA, because the employee or the taxes are only paid on the first $7,000 that you make. And by the way, the employer pays these taxes. The employer pays FUTA and the employer pays SUTA. Both employer and employee pay the FICA Social Security and the FICA Medicare. So both of them pay Social Security, Medicare, and only the employer pays the federal unemployment tax and the state unemployment tax. But it's only on the first $7,000 worth of wages. So it looks like if they made $6,400 through August and they made gross pay of $1,800 in September, it looks like this employee only needed to have, let's see, $7,000 minus the $6,400 pay through August. Only $600 of this $1,800 will be taxable for FUTA and SUTA. Again, only $600, because $600 is what you need to get to the limit of $7,000. So let's go through this. They're not over the limit for Social Security, and the September taxable amount will be the full $1,800, because that's what they made in September, $1,800. And so $1,800 times 6.2% looks like will be $111.60. For Medicare, there's not going to be, and there's the calculation, 1,800 times 6.2%, $111.60. There's not going to be anything over the limit for Medicare, so the whole amount will be taxable, which will be $26.10. And here's the calculation, 1,800 times 1.45%. For FUTA, they were over the limit by $1,200, which means that of this 1,800, 1,200 is over the limit, so we're only going to pay taxes on FUTA. That is, the employer is going to pay the taxes for $600. So looks like we got $8,200 is what they made minus the $7,000 limit, and looks like they're $1,200 over the limit. So $600 is going to be the taxable amount of these September wages for FUTA. So $600 times 0.8% will be $4.80 that the employer is responsible for FUTA taxes. Same kind of situation for SUTA. They're $1,200 over the limit. They're only going to pay taxes on $600 of this $1,800. So that'll be $17.40. $600 times 2.9% will be $17.40, and we're now finished with Part A's scenario. Let's go on to Part B. Part B looks like this employee has earned wages. There we go. Has earned wages through August of 19.2, and for September they have earned $2,400. The total for the year will be $21,600. Looks like when you're looking at the gross pay for September, $2,400, they're not over the limit on anything for Social Security because the limit's $87,000. They've only made $21,600, so the full $2,400 is taxable, and that means that the tax for September will be $148.80, and that'll be $2,400 times 6.2%. Medicare, there's not going to be a limit, so we've got $2,400 times 1.45%, which is going to be $34.80. Now for FUTA, which is what the employer only is responsible for, it looks like they went over the limit of $7,000 a long time ago. It was before August, and so this whole $2,400 will be over the limit, so they're not going to pay anything for FUTA taxes, and the same thing is true for SUTA taxes. They're not going to make any. They're over the limit for SUTA, which was $7,000. The whole $2,400 is not going to be taxed with respect to SUTA, and it'll be zero there. That takes care of Part B. Let's go on to the final part of this, which is Part C. Part C, this employee, made $83,100 gross pay through August. They've made an additional $8,900 in September, and we're trying to see of this September pay, what will be the taxes with respect to Social Security, Medicare, FUTA, and SUTA. And hopefully you can see that FUTA and SUTA will be zero, and then Medicare, there won't be any limit there, so it'll be the whole $8,900. The only question mark now is the Social Security. It looks like they went over because the total for August and September, through August and then add September, will be $92,000. So the limit's $87,000. They're now sitting at $92,000, and so of this $8,900, let's see how much is over the limit. Well, it looks like $5,000 is going to be over limit because $92,000 minus $87,000 is going to be over limit by $5,000. So only, let's see, how much is taxable? $3,900 is taxable. They're $5,000 over the limit, and so the amount of tax we're going to take out of their the gross pay for Social Security at 6.2% will be $241.80, and that's based on $3,900 of this $8,900 September pay. $241.80. So let's go on to Medicare. Medicare, they're not going to be anything over the limit, so the whole $8,900 is taxable. $8,900 times 1.45 will give us $129.05. And for FUTA, the entire $8,900 is over the limit, so they're not going to pay anything. Nobody's going to pay anything for FUTA, and the same thing for SUTA. Okay.